Welcome to Dr. Tom's Throttle Therapy, and today I'm talking all about locking my bike up in London. Welcome back to the channel, and thanks for joining me. So I often get asked, when I leave my bike in London, I do ride my bike into London a lot and leave it tied up, chained up or whatever. Often get asked, am I not worried about losing my bike in London where somebody could steal it? And yeah, it's an issue, but I just feel that if an organised gang's going to nick my bike, they're going to nick my bike. There's not a lot I can do about that because they'll come geared up with a lorry or, whatever. So the way I look at it is I'm looking to stop the opportunists, the young lads that want to take a bike for a razz round at London and bin it at the end of the night or, that style of thing. So what I do is I try to use what we call layers of protection. So the minimum I have on my bike when I go anywhere is 5 locks. When I'm parking in London. So front wheel, I'll have a light lock ×3. And that one actually goes round the front wheel on both my Triumph Tiger and my Pan American. And I also have on there one of the hip locks, which is, both these two locks are supposed to be disc cutter resistant, smash resistant, hammer resistant, axle resistant. So you could get through them eventually, no two ways about it. And if you look on the internet, there's enough tests on there where people can cut them. But what they say with both these two is it normally takes 2 to 3 discs to cut it. And there's not going to be many opportunists that are going to stand there changing 4 disc blades on a disc cutter, because the longer they're there, the more chance they're going to get of being caught. So they're on the front wheel. On the rear wheel, I've been using a Pragmasis lock, which is quite a long one, as you can see, and this one tends to go through the brake disc on the rear wheel, round one of the swinging arms, and hopefully, depending on what I'm doing, tied around something else. And then also on my back wheel, you'll see I've got another hip lock, which I've cut off the rubber on this and put tape on it to protect the wheel, and this goes round the back wheel of my Triumph Tiger. So that's what I have been using on the rear wheel. However, Light lock have recently brought out this longer ×1 light lock. So this is going to be what I'm going to be using now, because the reason behind it is all the locks I've got so far you've looked at are Sold Secure, which is a rating site, diamond motorbike locks. The Pragmasis is only a gold, so it's still got a good level of protection, whereas this new light lock, which is very similar length to that one, has got the diamond protection as well. So they're higher rated, they've had more stringent tests, and they've come out sort of on top with that. So the 5th lock I have on my bike is always a disc lock that's got an alarm on it. So the one I tend to use most of the time is this Zenon disc lock. Reason being, by the time I've locked my front wheels up with these bad boys, I can then put this somewhere where it's hard for them to move the front wheel without chopping these 2 locks off. And this is super sensitive, where 100 decibels, it's screaming alarm. And it just makes it, in my opinion, extra noise there that whoever's trying to steal your bike have got to deal with. Hopefully, the general public see it, report it to the police, or somebody else there. The other lock I sometimes use, but I normally use this one, which is the Oxford Boss alarm, but I normally use it in conjunction with a rope, metal rope, which I can then lock through either the wheels, round a post, or something convenient there. Sometimes if I'm with another biker, I'll lock this to the other bike next to me, so we've got an extra layer of protection. But if I'm using that, I tend to use this lock. Now, where you've got an issue with all this is the weight of them all. And if you take cost out of the equation, but the weight of them, they all weigh somewhere between 2.3 kilos and 3 kilos. So if you think I've got 4 of these on the bike at 3 kilos each, there's 12 kilos of locks just there. So you ain't putting that on a sports bike or a naked bike. So you may need to choose a couple of these locks if you're going to have it, or even just one and maybe a small disc lock. Depending, if I'm leaving my bike overnight and I've got the room in my top box, I tend to bring a big chain with me as well. So this is my new favourite one, which is a Holberg chain, and it's got a ring that goes around the chain, so I can actually stretch this to 2 meters long. So if a pole's 2 meters away from a bike, I can still chain it to a pole, or you know, some sort of fixing there. So that's how I layer my protection on my bikes. Now, one of the locks I bought that I thought might be a good thing to buy, and it was a total waste of money, to be honest, is one of the handlebar locks. So the idea is you put your handlebar through here, and your brake lever through here. It locks your brake lever in place, and the idea is they can't move it because your front wheel's locked. However, two people can just lift the front wheel off the floor, drag your bike away to somewhere convenient where they can then spend time smashing this off. So again, unless you're going to use other locks on your bike, I wouldn't really go with an handlebar lock. Probably a good lock. It is alarmed, but like I say, there's easier ways around this one. The other thing you could do is you could disconnect the brake cable. And you know, there's a potential there, then they can just wheel it away with that still on there. So this is what I use day in, day out when I'm going into London. Cost-wise, so this new light lock, the longer one, I think it's about 199 quid. The Pragmasis they don't make anymore. Shame, because I thought they were good locks. The hip locks, these are around 250-ish, give or take, depending on where you buy it from. And the light lock ×3, which is a real heavy duty one, you're probably looking somewhere around 250, 270 for one of them. And Zen and Lock, they're about 120 quid, 130 quid. The big cheap one is the Oxford Boss Alarm, which you can pick these up from Sports Bike shop for about 70 quid. And strangely enough, out of all my locks I've got, that's the only one my insurance company recognise for security on a bike, which is strange because it's only gold rated. So anyway, that's the lock combinations I use when I go to London, and I think it's all about layering your locks. It's not necessarily about trying to stop somebody who's going to be geared up for it, you know, someone's stealing your bike to sell it, because they're going to come with a lorry or maybe even a high-ab lifter or something like that to just chuck it straight in the back of the lorry and off it goes. So I'm looking to stop the opportunist. This is how I do it. Interested for your thoughts. Any thoughts, put it in the comments, and I'll get on to my next reviews. So thanks for watching. That was Dr. Tom's Throttle Therapy. Please subscribe and like if you thought it was okay.